Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to week 6 of Mission Conservation. We are so excited to have you all join us again. And today is all about turtles, totally turtles, actually. And we are going to have a very special guest sharing turtles with us, all things turtles, which we will get to. Uh, in case this is your first time with us, we want to remind you that mission conservation is all about enabling you to be able to do mission conservation education activities at home. And we know that a lot of young learners are still stuck at home. School is closed and will be closed for the rest of the school year. So we want to be able to provide you with quality conservation education materials so that you can get outside into your backyard, into a local park, but outside and learn all about how wonderful turtles are and discover new and exciting facts about them. There have been a lot of conversations among educators in the past few weeks with the world changing the way it has. And people are looking at Denmark for what they are doing with taking education out of doors. And ironically, we are discovering through this pandemic a lot of very good and useful things about education. And one of them is the benefits of young people being out of doors and learning outside. Not only is it much safer to be outdoors from the COVID perspective, but they're finding that young people that learn outdoors have better eyesight, they're better at assessing risks, they have more resilience. There's lots of benefits to outdoor education. And so our goal with mission conservation is to allow you at home to get out of doors and have fun and learn amazing things about nature. And as I said, today our theme is turtles. I would like to introduce Misty Mitchell, who is the Director of Education with the Johnny Morris Foundation. And they are the leads of mission conservation. Misty, welcome. How's everything in Springfield today?
Everything is good. It's great here in Springfield, Missouri. Thanks for having me today.
It's really great. You guys, I can't say enough about the amazing work that you are doing and the Johnny Morris Foundation with leading the way in this national initiative. It's just, we're getting so much great feedback. Young learners are loving this opportunity that you are providing. I had a little pop question for you today, Misty, but I woke up, since we were talking about turtles, I woke up thinking about tortoises and how when I was a little girl, we used to go to the zoo all the time and see tortoises. And I got thinking, is a tortoise a turtle? What is the difference? So I thought maybe you might know.
Well, so there's actually a lot of people interchange the names turtle, tortoise, and terrapin. Okay. And they all have a little bit of difference between them. So a tortoise is a land turtle. So it's a turtle that lives on the land all the time. So that's the difference in that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Misty, and thank you so much for all the leadership you are showing nationally with this spectacular initiative.
Well, we are super excited to be involved in this. This has been amazing. And actually, this weekend on Saturday, we celebrated World Turtle Day. And that's why we're doing Mission Conservation Totally Turtles. So Wonders of Wildlife is in Springfield, Missouri. And we are a 350,000 square feet museum and aquarium. And so on the video right now, you can see one of our sea turtles. We actually have 2 green sea turtles, and this is Miss Izzy. And Miss Izzy came to us from North Carolina. She was actually found stranded, and she was taken to a rehabilitation center where she was rehabbed for several months. It was declared that she was unreleasable because she could not balance herself well enough to feed on her own in the wild. So she is at Wonders of Wildlife and our open ocean exhibit. And so all of our guests get to come in, they get to see her, they get to interact with her, and she's absolutely beautiful. And then Miss Pam, which is our newest turtle, she is also a green sea turtle. She actually has she has weights on the back of her carapace, which is her top shell. And those weights help her to get down to the bottom of the water so she can feed. So she is also rehabilitated. She could not be released in the wild and is in care at Wonders of Wildlife. And we're excited to have both of them at our facility. And we talk about mission conservation. Well, mission conservation was designed to take right to your home. So wherever you are, you know, whatever you're doing, you can participate in mission conservation, and it's super easy to get involved with. You head to our website at wondersofwildlife.org/missions. Okay, super easy to remember. So you head there, and then what you're going to do is you're going to download the app, the Agents of Discovery app, on your cell phone or other device. You're going to go to the website, like I just said, and then you're going to print the triggers. So Mission Conservation is a educational gaming platform. And who doesn't like games? We all like games. And what you'll do is through image trigger recognition, these triggers you pull up, and then through images, you're going to get to play these games. Okay. And that is super easy. Download the app, go to the website, print these triggers that you see right now. And when you print these, I highly recommend that you get the kids outdoors. And that's print them, take them out in the backyard, take them in the front yard. If you don't have a really big yard, maybe you can take them to a local park or another green space, but get your kids outdoors, get them engaged. And if it's a rainy day, hide them around the house. Put one in a bedroom, one in a kitchen, and make a scavenger hunt out of this game. If you've ever heard of Pokemon Go, this is kind of like an educational version of Pokemon Go. So you get to play these missions. The cool thing is, this week is Totally Turtles, but we have 5 other missions that you can participate in right now. So we have endangered species, we have all about trees, and every single one of those missions uses the same triggers. So you print them one time, and then you can get a new mission with new games, new activities to play. So you can keep your kids busy for a long period of time. We also have missions for younger kids and for your older kids. And guess what? Even as an adult, you can play these missions. I've played them all. They're pretty fun. We will continue the education through activity guides. So we've got activity guides on every one of our missions. And these activity guides just give you other things that you can do with the kids. They're indoor, usually crafts and activities, but we also have outdoors, like taking a turtle walk and trying to find turtles in your own area. Talking about habitat cleanup, because turtles need our help. A lot of our turtles are either considered threatened, endangered, or critically endangered. And one of the best ways that we can help them, no matter where we live, is to clean up our habitats. Because a lot of these turtles will mistake plastic bags and things like that as food, and then that doesn't help them, okay? And so we want to be able to protect them, and that's super important to be able to do. So mission conservation, super easy. Download the app, go to the website, and print the triggers, and then you get to play. And today, we're actually going to play one of the challenges. So you guys get to see some of the fun that you would have when you're able to do this. So I'm going to turn it over to Kendra, and Kendra's going to play a challenge for you.
Hey everybody, this is Kendra. I'm with Agents of Discovery. I work with Mary. And today we're going to be looking at the Totally Turtles Emerging Learner mission. So you can see I've already got it downloaded here on my Agents of Discovery app. So I'm just going to go ahead and click the play button. So now we can see our lovely loading screen featuring one of the turtles that Misty talked about earlier. And the first thing that pops up is this welcome message. So welcome, agent. Your mission today is to discover new and exciting facts about turtles and turtle conservation. Are you ready? Let's go. So I'm going to tap here to continue. And what comes up here is the mission. So every one of these markers that I'm circling here with my mouse represent a different challenge. And to get to these challenges, I'm going to tap on one of these markers, and then I'm going to scan an image using the camera in my phone. So I'm going to tap on this one right here. And we're going to wait a second while it pops up. Okay, be on the lookout for Agent Skunk. So what loads around me here? Welcome to my office. This is my little kitchen desk. And over here, I have loaded the image of Agent Skunk. So like Mary and Misty mentioned, you can print these out and place them around your backyard, but I'm just using my computer. So nice work. I found Agent Skunk. And now it's going to load up the challenge. So the challenge that we're showing you today is called an augmented reality catch. Essentially, what is going to happen is I am going to have to catch something using some assets that are provided to me on my phone. So there are 7 species of sea turtles found in the world's ocean today, and each of them has a different food preference. Some of them are herbivores, some of them are omnivores, and some of them eat crabs. So what I'm going to do today, we're going to get a nice view of my office here. It's the same thing as my kitchen, is I am going to catch some crabs as soon as I find them. There they are. Okay, so I'm going to throw this net using my finger and try to catch as many as I can. Okay, so I got one. This challenge is very gamey. It's very similar to Pokemon Go. And it's just a fun way for kids to interact with their environment as they're learning more about how turtles eat. Okay, so great work, Agent. And then it's going to give me a little bit more information here and tell me that I've earned 3 Bs. So this is kind of my reward for getting it on the first try. And I'm going to hit close. Yay, okay, so we see my Bs pop up and now there's a check mark on that challenge. So I could go through and play any of the challenges in this mission. For today, we're just gonna take a look at the one challenge. So yeah, that's everything for me. I'm gonna pass it back over to Misty.
Thank you very much, Kendra. As you could see Kendra's office, her kitchen area. So wherever you are, those crabs are gonna be floating around in that area. You can also catch fish. There's all kinds of really cool gaming activities. And then once you complete that, you earn your Bs, you get your check mark, and you go on to the next challenge. For every mission, there are 10 challenges to participate in. And when you're completely done, we got more rewards because rewards are cool. You're going to earn a badge. And this week, you're going to earn a painted turtle badge because it goes along with turtles. And then you get to have a Snapchat filter. So all of you who like to share with the social media on Snapchat, you can download this Snapchat filter and share it with your friends and tell them about the missions that you did. And every single week you get a new filter and a new badge. And what we hope you do is you collect those badges because we're looking at more prizes in the future and those prizes are going to be really cool. So really easy to do. You can do this anywhere. Even if you're at a youth group setting with a group, you can get together and do that. You can do it at home. It's designed to take anywhere in the world. And that's what's super cool about this. So would you guys like to meet a live turtle? I think turtles are pretty cool. So I am going to introduce Michelle. She manages the Tacoma Nature Center, which is a facility of the Metro Parks Tacoma. Thanks for joining us, Michelle.
Thanks for having me today. I'm really happy to be here and to share with you all kinds of fun things about turtles. I have a very active turtle over here, so if I seem distracted, it's because I'm trying to keep it from leaving its tank. I would like to use these turtles that I have to share with you to show you more about the kinds of things that they have to help them. Misty, I'm not sure if I'm not showing up on the screen. Is it something that I need to do differently?
You're there. You're on the screen. You're good.
I'm seeing you. So, all right, thank you. So I'm going to grab this turtle before he runs away and bring him over to show you. This turtle is one of our native turtles to the Pacific Northwest called a Pacific painted turtle. And the reason why I'm having trouble holding him into his tank is because he's got these very active back legs that are pushing against me and the tank. And so I'm going to show you some of the things about turtles that make them very well adapted to live in their environment. This particular turtle is a freshwater turtle, and it lives in streams and ponds and lakes in the Northwest. And it's adapted for life mostly in the water. So when you look at a turtle like this and the aquatic lovely turtle that you had earlier, the green sea turtles, they tend to be kind of flat shaped so they can cut through the water really easily. Their shell is not very domed like some other turtles and tortoises. That's one of the first adaptations to being able to survive or move quickly in the water. They also have these great paddles built right in. They have 4 of them. This guy's really showing you his paddles. as he's trying to get away from me. And when you look closely, I'll try and hold it up for you. When you look closely at his paddles, you'll notice that they are webbed feet. Can you see the webs on the feet there?
Yeah.
That's so they can catch a lot more water. It's just like we use flippers when we're going scuba diving or that kind of thing. So that allows them to get more water with each push, and they can move pretty quickly through the water. He also has claws though, because he does spend some time on the land. Mostly when they're crawling up. I'm gonna set him down for just a second because his claws are pretty sharp on my hands. Mostly when they're crawling up onto logs, one of the things that you'll see mostly in the wetlands around the Northwest, if they have turtles, is you will see them up on logs sunning themselves, because they don't, they're not able to regulate their body temperature internally. They have to get sun rays to heat them up. So logs and rocks and the shore is where you're gonna see turtles when the sun is shining. A lot of people wonder why you don't see turtles in the winter around here, and mostly it's because they kind of just bury themselves down in the mud and do a bit of hibernating during the winter. And that's because they can't get warm enough to be really active. Plus, most of their food sources are gone during the summer or during the winter, the cold months. So this particular, I'm going to grab him again. This particular turtle, like I said, is a painted turtle. And I've been calling him a boy. And I know I have two turtles, and I'll show you their habitat in a minute. This one is a boy, a male, and I can tell because his shell is slightly concave in the middle. Probably can't see that very well, but I can feel that dip in the middle of his shell. If he was a female, he would have a flat shell, which allows for more space inside for developing eggs, because of course males don't have to do that. So they need to make sure that they have enough room for those eggs. This painted turtle is called that because of the beautiful colors along the edges of the shell. And one of the main ways that you can tell this particular turtle from the non-native red-eared sliders that we see so often around here is the fact that they don't have any visible red ears on their heads. So if you're wondering how you can tell if it's a native or not when you're here in the Northwest, you would look at the head, and if you just see the yellow and green stripes, you would know it's a painted turtle, one of the natives. And if you saw a little like red ear patch, which is not technically the ear, it's just a coloration on their head, you would know that's a red-eared slider, which unfortunately have been introduced all over the place in many areas and oftentimes outcompeted the native turtles, which is why we don't like having non-natives introduced, because we would prefer the natives to be there. They're the ones that are adapted for that area. So one of the best things you can do for our native turtles is not release turtles into the wild. So one of the things that we like to share with people, back into the tank for a minute, is if you'd like to have a turtle for a pet, we'd love for you to consider having a turtle for a pet. They're great animals, but you need to be able to be committed to that animal for quite a while. Turtles can live 20 to 30 years, or at least know that you have an outlet to be able to have that turtle go somewhere else to another loving home versus just dumping it in a pond somewhere, because you want to make sure you're not introducing these non-natives into an area that's already taken up probably by the native turtles. So that is, I'll bring Rockwell, his name is Rockwell, back in a few minutes. We named our painted turtles after famous American painters. So the female is O'Keeffe for Georgia O'Keeffe, and Rockwell for Norman Rockwell. And our visitors got to pick those names years ago. When we got these baby turtles, they were only the size of a quarter. They were very cute, and they've grown quite a bit. You could see that one was as big as my hand. I wanted to show you a little close-up of a non-wiggling turtle with parts so that you can learn more about the animal parts that they have that are pretty cool. So this is a turtle skeleton that's been disarticulated to be able to show it easier. The first thing that you might notice about turtle shells when you touch a turtle or see them is that they're hard. When you tap on them, you can hear a tap. That's because they're made of the same stuff as our nails and fingernails, or nails, hair, and other kind of cartilagey things. It's called keratin. And the turtle shell is made up of many, many scutes. It's spelled S-C-U-T-E. A scute is basically just the parts that make up the shell. I'm going to set this down for a second and show you a couple of scutes. They don't come off the turtle per se, but they will shed them, just like we can sometimes shed flakes off of our nails. And these are a couple different scutes that came off of the painted turtles. If you look at a turtle shell, you'll see that they have little rectangles and different shapes. And that's exactly what this is one of those shapes. I have some even really cooler scutes as well. This one is shaped from the edge of the shell. It's got a different shape because it's right along the edge. And this one I really like because you can actually see a bit of a curved back part because it actually curves under the shell. That's this part. If you were to take, if this turtle had lost part of its scoot, it would have been this part right here, right along the edge. This is a much smaller turtle, so it's too big, but you get the idea. So turtle shells made of keratin, and they stay on all their lives. One of the biggest myths about turtles is that people think they can leave their shells. In fact, you often see that on cartoons. But when you look inside this turtle shell, you can clearly see the spine, the backbone. That turtle cannot leave its shell. It's built in. So if you ever find a shell like this turtle died and its body parts basically rotted away. It's not there anymore, but you'll still see the backbone in there. But you will never see a turtle shell from a turtle that willingly left its shell. They can't do that. This upper part of the turtle is called the carapace, and the bottom part of the shell is called the plastron. And again, that's where I was showing you earlier that I could tell that Rocco was a male because on his plastron, he's slightly concave. So there's a big difference between aquatic turtles and terrestrial turtles. You were talking earlier, Misty, about how tortoises are told apart from turtles. And basically, you can tell turtles that spend most of their lives in the water versus most of their lives on land. This is a mostly aquatic turtle, this painted turtle with the flattened shell, the webbed feet, but still has claws. Rocco also happens to be quite wet because I took him out of the water. And I'm bringing you another friend to show you. This particular turtle is named Ella. And Ella is actually a three-toed box turtle. She's native to back east. She's a box turtle. And whereas Rocco has the job of educating visitors when they come drop into the nature center and wander around, Ella actually has the job of educating some of our program participants. So she doesn't get seen by the people that walk into the nature center. She's only seen by people that are participating in a program. And so her job is to basically educate about the turtle parts. So we will show the carapace, the plastron, different parts of her body, including the fact that she has a much more domed shell because she's a box turtle. She can act, I'll tell you a secret, she's actually a little too plump to pull all the way inside her shell, but she could theoretically pull all of her body parts into her shell. You can see in the back, she's done that with her back leg and her tail. It's kind of tucked underneath. But she can't pull the rest in. She's a little too plump. You can see her bulging out here. But the other box turtle that we have, he does pull all of his body parts in, and all that's left are kind of these tougher parts of the leg so that it's more protected if they were to have a predator attack them. And they've got this lovely hinge right in the plastron. It's not in the middle, but it's right here. And that theoretically allows them to hinge and pull that even tighter. So poor Ella, I've introduced her as a slightly plump turtle, but that's the truth. That's what she is. So especially she has been getting, what's that?
There's a question. Can they breathe when they go inside their shells?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, if you look closely, you'll just see their two little nostrils visible right when they pulled their head in, just a little peak right there in nostrils. And so, yes, they can breathe. But that brings me to a good point too. Now, Ella doesn't go under the water, except she likes to take baths now and then. I'll bring her back when I want to talk about her beak. Turtles have a really cool adaptation for being underwater. They do have to breathe. They are animals that need to get oxygen from the air, but they also can get oxygen from the water. They have special tissues in the back of their mouths that help take oxygen right out of the water. So they can get extra oxygen that way, which allows them to stay submerged for a long period of time. 40 minutes they can stay underwater. Now, I'm not sure about sea turtles. They may have a different schedule, but the average painted turtle like I have here, 40 minutes underwater. And I swear, sometimes I've seen our painted turtles stay under the water even longer than that. In fact, there's been many times where I come into the nature center and I have to ask myself, is that turtle even alive? It's been down napping under the water for hours, but of course they always are fine. And I'm probably just not seeing when they come up for air briefly in between those 40 minutes, but it's pretty cool how long they can stay underwater. Now, both painted turtles and box turtles have to nest on the ground. They do not lay eggs underwater. So one of the questions we get here at the Nature Center, and I'm going to show you their lovely habitat. I'm going to pan over here to show it. They have this beautiful exhibit. Sorry, forgive my camera skills here. But they have this great exhibit that allows them to have a nice pond to be in. and there's a log that they can't really claw up onto that's kind of going in there, but there's another one in there so they can sun themselves. There's a nice heat lamp. But what happens is they cannot breed. We don't want more turtles. We don't have space for an unlimited number of turtles. So the fact that they don't have any land to lay eggs on means we don't have to worry about breeding, even though we have a male and a female turtle, and they're both mature right now. So that is kind of the secret to keeping our turtle population the same. Lots of activity over here in the turtle tank. I'm gonna bring it back to me because I want to talk more about the turtles again. So any other questions yet, Mary? Oh, I can't hear you.
You talked about how the males and females are different, but Linda is asking if you could just review how the male and female are different.
Okay, well, I only gave you one way to tell. The plastron is more concave on a male and more flat on a female. One of the other ways to tell is the size of the tail. It's much larger generally on the females. Also where their cloaca, the part that they eliminate waste and lay eggs from, is in a different location. And sometimes in some species, the eye color, the pupil is different. So it kind of depends on the species, but in general, that carapace trick is the easiest. The thing is, though, they have to be mature to be able to test that. So if you have a young turtle, you might be seeing a concave turtle shell or plastron, even though they might be a female. I did some recent research on how you can tell them apart. So if you just Google, how do I tell what a turtle sex is, you'll see a whole bunch of great ways to tell the difference, like 6 different ways. So good question. Let's see. I also wanted to talk about feeding. I'm going to bring Ella back with her lovely beak. Turtles don't have teeth. They will bite, though, if you stick your finger in their mouth, especially if it looks like a little worm, which they might want to eat, because those beaks basically are like a bird bill where it can grab things tight with the edges and then also kind of mash things together. One of Ella and her partner Scooter's favorite foods are bananas. They love bananas, so they get it as a treat once in a while. And usually when they do that, they mush the banana all over their face and sometimes on their shell. And they're really good at mushing things. But I also have seen them, in fact, earlier she ate an earthworm and just tore that earthworm right in half and swallowed it down. It was quite fun to watch, but not for the earthworm. Anyway, they don't have teeth, but I think she's a little upset with me there, so I can put her down for a second. What they do sometimes do is have a difference in what they eat depending on their age. So young turtles typically are mostly carnivorous. So when they're hatchlings in like the first year, they eat mostly meat, worms, bugs, little tiny things that crawl around. And that way they can get a really high protein diet that helps them build that shell and grow quickly. As they get older though, they need to be able to be more omnivorous and eat pretty much anything they can find. So both plant material and animals. And so a typical turtle as an adult will be an omnivore. And that is, again, mostly land turtles. I love sea turtles, but I'm not as familiar with them because we don't have any here at the Nature Center. Putting Rockwell back in his tank here. He's trying to climb out. So we'll get them back into their habitats in a few minutes. But I think the only other thing I really wanted to share, unless it depends on what the questions are, is I wanted to share that turtles make great pets if you like animals that are fairly low maintenance. You don't have to take them out to go to the bathroom or take walks. As long as they have a good habitat, they're pretty well self-sustaining. You just clean their habitats and feed them. But not only should you make sure that you're ready for a long-term commitment, but you should decide that if possible, try and adopt turtles that have already been homed with someone else. Because if you go to a pet store and buy a turtle, you're encouraging more to be taken out of the wild because that's how many turtles are collected for selling in the pet trade. So please try and adopt when possible. There's often great organizations in your area that do adoptions for turtles. Also, I'm gonna strongly recommend, unless you have a really good pump and filter system or you're really dedicated, try and avoid aquatic turtles. They can be very difficult to take care of if you don't like changing the water and cleaning it. You kind of have to find that delicate balance of when the water is not all murky and horrible. So terrestrial turtles like the 3-toed box turtle like Ella are definitely much easier to take care of. They just need a large water dish that they can use as a kind of swimming pool, bathtub, jacuzzi kind of situation. But then the rest of their tank can be mostly dirt. Whereas, as I mentioned, our painted turtles only have water areas in their habitat, no land. And so we have a very large commercial pump in the tank, and that's what keeps them clean. I'm bringing out Rockwell for another visit before he goes away. He's dripping all over my lap, which is quite lovely. So I think that's all I wanted to share about turtles. Does anybody have questions?
Well, 30 years is a long time to have a pet. So I think that's a really good point, that if you want to take on a turtle as a pet, that's total commitment.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Rockwell is about 12 years old at this point. So he's got a lot of good years ahead of him.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much for that. It's very nice I learned a lot about turtles that I didn't know. So thank you very much for joining us today. And we will look forward to joining you next week. We're going to be talking about amphibians, and next week is Amphibian Week. So we hope this week you'll have a lot of fun playing the Totally Turtles mission, and keep your eye peeled for those prizes that Misty was mentioning that are going to be announced soon. And we will look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you very much, Michelle. That was great.